And welcome to my new video, Continental Purling. Now I was asked to do this as some people have been finding it difficult to learn how to purl Continental style. I was one of these people when I first switched from English to Continental, and now it's time for me to pass on what I've come up with and what I've learned. So here we have on our wrong side, well this is just a swatch, but on our wrong side, and I've got two methods to show you. The first one is what I would do for long purl rows, such as the return row of a shawl or the back side of a cardigan or whatever you need. Maybe it's some garter stitch in the round or whatever. But what I'm going to do is, like always, I'm going to anchor my yarn on my pinky. This is where all your tension comes from, not up front. It's like a Volkswagen engine. The engine's in the back, all the old Volkswagens anyway. So here I've got my first stitch, and you'll notice that I've got the yarn over my thumb rather than my forefinger. Make sure my yarn's in front, and like any other purl stitch, I'll get this first one out of the way because the first stitch is always fairly hard to showcase. My yarn is in front, the yarn's over my thumb, and what's happening is as I'm putting my needle through to purl, the yarn's already there, so all I've got to do with my thumb is push it down. So all I'm doing here is just securing that loop over the needle by pushing it down with my thumb. That's all I'm doing. The yarn's already there and I'm pushing it down. Now I know some people have found that they get really loose tension with their purling, and all I can say is it's not anchored properly, because there is no reason that your knit stitch and your purl stitch are different. So as you can see, that's just in front already, it's already there, and it's just being pushed down. And this is if I'm doing long repeats, long rows of purls, that's the method that you'll probably see me use. But as you can see, between the row before, there's really no difference at all. Now all of this was done Continental style, and as you can see here in this stockingette piece, there's no great big loose stitches. It's all fairly uniform. I'm using a light worsted yarn on 8mm needles, so it just gave me the ability to sort of show you a little easier that when you sort of stretch it out, there's really no difference at all. Now the other method is one where I use the same handhold as I do with my Continental knitting. So again, yarn is anchored around the pinky. So I'm just going to knit across a row, and just to show you, if I'm doing sort of things with short rows or textured stitches that combine knit and purl, this is the hold I'll use, and I'll show you why. Because as I get towards the end of my knit row, I will in fact not change the way that I'm holding my yarn, and I'll show you as I turn my work. Didn't move. Just make sure that this yarn front of the work, and again this first stitch is always a bit of a, which is why I usually slip the first stitch, but there we go. And again, all I'm doing, the yarn's already there over my forefinger, and all I'm doing is pushing it down. So the yarn's already over the needle as that comes through. You don't have to to throw it around. You don't have to sort of make sure that it's going through, because it's already there. All you've got to do is push that yarn down, and I'm exaggerating a little bit here. My fingers usually aren't that far apart when I'm knitting, because I tend to conserve as much energy as I can so I can knit for longer. And I'm also knitting through the lens of the camera, which is a challenge in itself. So as you can see, the yarn's already there, and all you're doing is securing that loop by pushing it down. Same with the thumb, but you're just using your thing. And again, I'll show you, whoops, without dropping any stitches. I have not let go of the yarn. Now the reason I like this hold for textured stitches is, as you just saw, you don't have to change anything. So I'll show you a knit 2, purl 2. So I'm going to knit 2, then just make sure that yarn comes in front, purl 2, goes behind, knit 2, goes in front, purl 2, and it's just making sure that that yarn is sitting either in front of your work or behind it, same as you would with your English knitting. And the only difference being is making sure that your tension is being held, not by your forefinger, not by your thumb, but through that pinky hold there. That's where your tension is, right there. So as you can see, my little knit 2, purl 2, I did the same thing back here and down here. Now, as a general rule, ribbing does not tend to be quite as firm, purely because of the motion of bringing the yarn forward and back through. But that's Continental purling. I hope that's helped. If you have any questions, please email me. If you have any suggestions, the email address is vintagegrrl@vintagegrrl. I will see you next time.